Alright y'all, how's it going? So today we've got a bit of a unique video. I've been planning, some lore videos for quite some time and just trying to build up the motivation to make them, right? But this video actually took a little while to build up just because of the topic. So we're talking about YouTube's new AI generated video suggestions. And in order to, show you guys as many funny things as I could, I had to take a couple days to collect some pictures, right? So I appreciate you guys for being patient, and let's talk about it, right? So if you have seen YouTube, if you're a creator, they have the new inspiration tab that allows you to explore and brainstorm video ideas that YouTube thinks that the general YouTube audience would like related to the topic of content you make. And for YouTube content creators, that has given us some pretty funny and interesting stuff to look at, like what we see here, this weird Typhlosion form and this, I don't know, kind of like mini Garchomp thing, I guess. But anyways, with that being said, let's actually start getting into it. And I hope you guys could hear that. But yes, let's talk about generated Pokemon via YouTube's AI. And let's build a budget VGC team Sisraj. So obviously with YouTube's AI, it has all the quirks of a AI that we could say that we both love and hate, right? This thing, giving us words that don't exist and trying its best to spell. Let's put it that way. But there's a lot of kind of interesting stuff to pick apart in this photo that I didn't really take time to dive too deep into because we got some more stuff to look at. So, of course, there's going to be the general kind of cookie cutter copy and paste, Pikachu variants, blah 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 variants. We got the top 10 teams to watch in Regulation H, my guy. But oh geez, what is that? Some of them are a little the AI gets bad, let's put it that way. It is AI, but after all, so they're not all perfect, but we get some occasionally kind of interesting things like we see in the back there. And we got this one again, the Typhlosion, kind of cookie cutter copy and paste, but a good example of, it does kind of make its own attempts to make Pokemon based on what it thinks a Pokemon is. And, that makes for some interesting discussions. Whether or not it looks like there's like a third hand coming out of that Typhlosion's mouth or something, right? But I also thought it'd be fun to, guess some of the types on some of these guys that I'm going to be showing you. So, I thought maybe whatever that thing is in the back, it's really hard to tell. Kind of looks like a mix match of two Pokemon, but like a little bear thing. Not like a bear, but you get what I'm saying, like a bear stature, and then it just has like a floating Pikachu tail above it. So I thought it maybe was a normal fighting Pokemon, who knows. But with the AI script generating, if there's anything to get out of it, that's what I think is most useful, because I don't personally really like using AI in my life to try to like oversimplify like writing essays and stuff. Like I grew up before all that. Like I put in real work to like use my brain and like develop myself, right? But like if you really need an idea that like YouTube thinks the audience is gonna like you can just read some of the stuff that it suggests and it will tell you good ideas, like underrated Pokemon to talk about. Where's the future of Pokemon VGC going? Like I'll admit those are all good ideas, like, and I wasn't gonna just maybe think of them myself right away. But like I'm not gonna literally like just let AI do everything for me and like be my brain, so there's a fine line for me. But anyway, we don't have to talk about all that. And you can kind of see here that it does kind of make some evolution lines in its own right. Sometimes it when you click a certain day or time of letting it generate images, sometimes it will stick with its own motif, and it will create different images based on whatever theme it started thinking about in the AI or whatever, but it'll also give you like some different images as well. So they don't always look like each other, but sometimes they do, like these two. So you can imagine this top one being like the low resolution, and then the bottom one being like the upper one, right? But you know, the bottom one obviously has like 4 legs when it shouldn't, so you know, one of those AI things again. But I noticed there was lots of dragons. You know, we've got this whatever this is. It's the image is a little bit fuzzy because when I took the screenshot, it was like more close to the size of what you see here, and then I blew it up. So for the ones that are really crisp, it's because I actually zoomed in on them, and it does allow you to do that. So like, you can zoom in on the images in YouTube, and they will look nice. So dragons, like I said, you know, we got some dragons. Blues, it really likes these, like, I don't know, electric spacey backgrounds. We got a big chubby frog dragon here. I guess I forgot to come up with a type for this one. It just looks like a dragon. Like, it's a maybe water dragon, poison dragon, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, some of them are just dragons. But I thought this one we looked at earlier was maybe like a dark dragon. I don't know, maybe it's just the eyes that are giving me that like menacing look or feel, right? But I like it, you know. Some of the things it comes up with are cool, you know, in their own right in some way. Whether or not, you know, maybe they have like extra arms or things like that, right? This, you know, really cool, you know, 'cause they maybe did it a little better than Power World sometimes, right? Like, if we're going to talk about ripoffs, right? But yeah, this is an interesting Charizard looking thing. I guess I'd say like a flying dragon, fire dragon, maybe just like dragon normal. I don't know. But it's cool, you know. It's definitely I like where they were going with it, you know, and it shows the capabilities that YouTube AI does have for like coming up with its own interesting, unique Pokemon based on whatever it thinks a Pokemon is, right? Like, this too, you know, cool looking dragon. Obviously has a 3rd wing, but you know, I like it. It's interesting. There's an idea there, right? So now we start to get into some of the really more interesting things here, and I zoomed in on this one actually when I took the picture, right? So it looks a little better. We've got kind of like a bug fire looking Pokemon here with like jets coming out of its arm things, arm tentacles. And then it also has like an extra one on the back of its like wings. I don't know. I thought it's cool. It's a really interesting, you know, like to go from like just creating like stuff like this and then you see this, it's like, okay, so like it doesn't just think they're all dragons. This we could interpret as being 2 separate Pokemon, or maybe like some like floating head Pokemon with like a sack or like a dismembered body. So I don't know. Yeah, I said fire ghost, or like maybe one's ghost and one's like fire dark or something, whatever that thing is in the back. But it's interesting. Then we've got in this picture, they gave us 3 different images. I called this first one maybe like an ice rock, but it's edging back towards that kind of dragon look, right? Normal dragon in the middle I thought was pretty straightforward. Couldn't think of a type for that last one, so if you guys want to comment and tell me a type, give me something, right? Here we've got a interesting kind of mecha owl type of thing, right? And so, you know, kind of starting to get into some of those more cool, unique things that the YouTube AI can come up with. I thought maybe a steel flying, steel dark. Here we've got, I don't know, like a ghost fairy, you know, came up with some weird, you know, not everything it really makes sense, let's just put it that way. So, you know, sometimes it kind of just throws something out there and it's like, this looks like something. Right? Sorry if the YouTube music just got a little loud. I feel like the transition of the music there was a little bit loud. So, this one, yeah, fairy flying. I mean, I don't know, has like a weird wing. I zoomed in way too far, so bad resolution. So that's kind of my bad. But more of those kind of like really vague things, kind of like this here, you know, fairy steel, I guess, is what I came up with. Now we finally got something that is a type that I think is really interesting, you know, maybe like a fairy dragon here. And we're starting to get to the end of it too, so, you know, thank you guys for sticking through the video, and hopefully this song is not too loud or whatever, because it seems like it to me. But, yeah, so fairy dragon, I don't know what those arms are. It looks like it has, like, holes in its arms. Or, like, it was trying to make, like, petals / wings, and then it was like, well, maybe it's an arm, too. Like, I don't know. What's that thing coming out of the side of its mouth? Is that its tongue? Where's its tongue supposed to be? Right? Here we've got a Mecha Blastoise. Interesting looking thing going on here. At least that's what I thought. It's kind of like a Mecha Blastoise, right? So we got YouTube AI coming up with its own mechanics, right? We got Mecha Pokemon, kind of like that app. And things like this, an alternate Regigigas form, you know? What if there was an alternate Regigigas? Never know. Here we've got kind of like an evolution line again. I couldn't decide if I thought Electric Dark or Fighting Dark was a good one for this one, but you can see the one in the back is kind of just like a little guy with a, you know, black body and yellow head, and then the yellow kind of progresses down the body as it evolves. So it's interesting, you know, like, I mean, it's interesting to look at. So here we've got some different, like, hodgepodge of ghost or dark or like fairy themed Pokemon that it came up with at the same time. I decided to give them all different types, so I thought maybe the one on the left was the Ghost Fairy, Ghost Dark in the middle, and then like Fairy Dark on the side. Fairy Dark I think is actually a really interesting type. So and it's an oddly suiting type to that image itself. So I actually really like that image, kind of like as a Pokemon concept. I just think like that one out of all is really interesting, because the one in the middle is like a Zoroark Mismagius, right? And then like the one on the side is like a Mega Bayonet Zoroark, I guess. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, so there's always those kind of things you can really pick out if you try. But we do get, I think these are the last couple that I did, just because like on the last day that I was gathering images, I was like, alright, let's get them just a couple more good ones, right? And so we got some ones that I zoomed in on, so they actually look really good. But ones that aren't just like dragons and stuff. So we got this really interesting looking electric fire rat that is kind of like a Raichu. I thought it did a good job with this one. You know, I think it looks good. So, we've got whatever this thing is that it came up with on the same day. So you can kind of see, like I was talking about, like the theme. You know, it will go themes, and it will create different things that kind of look like each other, but like are different enough, you know? So you can see these are like different, but they're almost kind of like a take on the same idea, right? And then this was the last image that I had it come up with, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and we'll have some conclusions to talk about in a second, but this is kind of like a, I don't know, like a Sliggoo weird thing with 4 legs, and then like changed color palette, so I can't exactly figure it out, like a Sableye color palette, like Sliggoo. And then whatever those other ones are, right? So yeah, it's interesting, you know, it's interesting, and there's definitely some common themes, right? Like the messing up words. I felt like I saw a lot of, like, firstly dragons, right? The dragons were very prevalent. Steel I felt like was also pretty prevalent, and then, you know, fairy and ghost popped up quite a bit. Normal, honorable mention, of course. But I think that's all I have to talk about today. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought of any of that, or the takeover of AI and making it harder to tell what's real and not real in random places just to make people have to do less work in their lives. Like, oh man, use your brain. That's all I'm saying. Our lives are important. So, but that's enough for me. I don't need to rant about that new stuff. I hope you had fun looking at these images. Let me know what you thought was your favorite one, and your favorite, type that you hope Pokemon makes that they haven't made yet. Like Rock Ghost, or what is it, Ice Poison or something? I forget what it is. There's a Ice one too that would be really interesting. But either way, yeah, have a good one, y'all.